Yeah.
Hi everyone, good morning from beautiful Vienna. My name is Adela Mejijanic and I am host of Making It in Austria YouTube channel. Today is Friday. We are recording this interview with a dear friend of Making It in Austria community, Sabine Reitmayer-Wawer. Sabine, welcome.
Good morning, Adela. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. You are glowing.
Thank
You're
you.
glowing, really. I love the color. I also bought some things in that color for myself for this season.
Yeah.
more I cannot tell.
You will show me.
I'll show you. I'll show you. Love the color. It's so beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us. As we usually start, it's about you introducing yourself in any form and in any length you wish.
Okay. So, good morning, everyone. I'm Sabine. Well, I'm a special guest, I heard so
Yes.
far. A special guest because I'm Viennese. I'm not from outside Austria, but I was born in Vienna. I was growing up in Vienna. I studied in Vienna, except some exchange studies in Netherlands, Ukraine, and some expat life in Kazakhstan. I was more or less living all my life in Vienna. Oh, that's amazing.
You made it, Sabine.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
I made it. I made it in Austria. I'm your success story.
I'll get you the badge. I'll get you the
Yeah,
she
please
made it
do
badge
so.
next time when we see each other.
But actually, I'm extremely honored that you invited me because I know your community. I really love your community, and I was really honored when you told me you would like to interview me because I thought, okay, what can I contribute to making it in Austria? Because actually, it's a little bit unfair. I was born here. So I should be able to make it here. But maybe some facts about myself, some private facts. I'm a mother of two beautiful kids, one 12-year-old and one 8-year-old. So they're kind of grown up, but still kids. So everyone thinking that as soon as they're in school, it's over with taking care. It's not that. it's continuing. I believe it's a lifetime job. Work-wise, I'm a business coach. Now I'm a business coach. I was not all my life a business coach. Before I was about, I don't know, like 15 years working in fast-moving consumer goods, mainly for international corporations and also Austrian companies, until kid number one arrived. And as it is, Adela, you know it, life changes dramatically.
Yes.
And then my daughter arrived and I thought, okay, there needs to be something new, something completely new. On the one hand, I was kind of done with corporate marketing because I needed something new, and I also wanted to have something that fits more into the way of living my life, my work life, my private life, my life as a mother. And I was on the search of finding the right balance, the right structure where everything fits together, more or less. I mean, it never fits together always perfectly, but in the average, it's fitting. And yeah, so it came that I'm working now as a business coach and team facilitator, also with Lego Serious Play. You already experienced it once. Yeah, that's it.
I have tons of questions, so I will start one after another. So first of all, Sabine, so you're my special guest and a good colleague, and I may also say a friend of me and a community. And you've been very, very helpful along the way and very supportive along the way with building the community. And as well for myself, as I became a mom for the very first time. I still remember our talks in the our garden.
Yeah.
Yes, and the picture behind me. So you asked me, so that's also our garden. So it has its place here. And as you told yourself, all the people that I have interviewed here, and most of them you have already met. So they're living in Vienna for many, many years. They've done, so they come from different walks of life. And of course, we are not, so the people who came abroad, so we are not an isolated island. So we are in every institution, in anything that you can think of, in any industry. And of course, we are part of the society, and only together, we move forward. So of course, I love to interview you, even though if you're Viennese and you're born here, we can of course learn a lot from you, and we can, I remember the Making It in Austria, the party we had in September, where
Yes. Yeah.
great little
With
quiz,
the Viennese
quiz, and
phrases. Yeah.
most of us were lost. It was like, I'm here 10 years, but this is really hard. This is just like, what did she say? It was like, and some people guessed it. Some people guessed it. I remember Smina was on top. Tanya was very, very competitive.
That's true. That's true.
But Tina was like, why have you selected me to represent you? I'm from Germany. It's
But
all fits
we
together.
can do a little twinning.
I remember I've seen some of these schools, one of them also the German school,
Yeah.
a German language school in the 6th or the 7th district of the Mariahilferstraße. They have a special course for teaching Viennese dialect. Really?
They have.
Yes, they have. I remember seeing it some years ago. I don't know if it's still ongoing, but there were some schools who really had a specific class for it.
Yeah.
Because
But
it's very different. It's
it's
very
completely different.
different.
And actually, I still remember when I was in Italy for half of a year. If you're in Milan, for example, or in Florence, it's pretty easy to understand. But if you go to a different area, it's even though I was really good in Italian language, it was like, oh my God, what are they saying?
Yeah, so that's the same for us. So for the people that
That's
are
the way
listening,
it is, yeah.
yes, who are listening this, and I don't know, planning to move to Vienna or coming to Vienna for a visit, and even though you speak perfectly German, and don't be surprised or shocked that you don't understand when people among themselves, like locals or the Austrians, like for a different region, talk among themselves and don't understand a word, really.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's maybe also interesting from the other perspective, because you mentioned people coming to Austria and they starting to learn German. And if they're really starting to learn it in Austria, in Vienna specifically, and then they're having, for example, business relations with Germany, with Hamburg, for example, there are also phrases they even don't know what we're talking about. One special
accent
thing I would still remember, not
Mhm.
only accent, one really typical thing I will remember from my time when I was working for German companies. The phrase in Vienna we say, "Es geht sich nicht aus." You know it, yeah?
Okay. Yeah.
They don't know it. They were always, what is not, was geht sich nicht aus? Huh? It's because they don't relate it to time, and they don't relate it to time-wise. It's not fitting, it's not matching, but they always think it's like size-wise.
Okay.
Like
boxes. This box
it doesn't fit into my car, for example. Yeah? So this was always very funny. Even though you're both mother tongue German, you don't have a clue what the other person is talking about.
That's bring the memories of when I moved here, that I did study German here in Austria in one of the schools, Deutsche Akademie. They have their own plan and their own books. There's a schedule behind it, and you go from one class to the next. And after that, I started working at Tele2, so with what was mostly like Austrians, really 99%. And basically, when they talk among themselves, I didn't understand. I remember the first day, the first session we had, the introduction to the company. So then every department was invited, like the product. I'm thinking about the product one. And when they did the presentation, I was like, okay, forget what you have taught in the school. This is a different story.
This is now real life.
This is a real life. And I was not the only sales trainee that started. I had Tanya, who's Croatian.
Yeah.
And she also learned German here. And there was Marie from Hamburg that was living in Austria for some years, but not many years. And then I was like thinking, it's probably me. Like, I cannot follow this. It might be me. I'm just a few months here. They are longer for years, right? So they might have picked up a few things and words. And then during the pause, I was like, break, I was asking them, like, do you follow? Or it's just me? They said, no, hardly. We cannot follow them. And even though Marie was from Hamburg, she said, I have really difficulties to follow this, where they really go too deep into dialect. So then we talked to a colleague later on and told him, we really cannot follow you. If you want us to understand and be, participate in this, because it was presentation for us to understand the company, then you really have to switch to German. Otherwise, we are just
to differentiate. Are you talking private or casual, or are you talking business?
Yeah, really German, like it's taught in schools, without, cutting words, eating words, putting, the dialects, the phrases that are common to people who lived here. So that's really, excluding me. I could not really follow it, even though the topic was really, really difficult as well. But that's one of the tips, one of the things that I learned, it's like, don't assume anything. Basically, it's just the tip for life, it's like, I know some German and they know some German, so probably we will get along.
I think you did go along very well. But something I experienced through my times abroad for study or expat, this charm of local language, it also reflects a lot of the culture you're living in. So basically you can catch the culture very well, the way people are talking to each other in daily life, in casual language. It really reflects a lot. So it's, if you want to deep dive into a culture, I think it's really, really good to mingle with the local language.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. And what you said now brings the story that I shared with Diana, the other lady that I have interviewed. And she is born in Kenya and went with 18 years to the UK to study. So English is her first language, let's say. And then during our discussion and when we were setting the meeting, she was telling so many times, sorry, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry, my computer just stopped working right before the interview. I'm sorry for this. And I was telling you, like, Diana, you don't need to apologize. It happens. And nowadays, it happens to all of us. And she said, like, I know, but it's culturally as well, because sorry, I'm sorry, it's common in English language. And all of her kids are born in Austria, raised in Austria, and they go to school in Austria.
And they don't say sorry.
And recently one of her, I think the oldest daughter, went to the UK for an exchange. Right? And they told her that it was rude the way she was speaking, because they was not like, certainly, absolutely sorry, if I may, can I? And so it was very on the point, right? Yes, no, you can do it. And the mothers at the end, I was saying, no, she's not. That's the how she's taught. It's like, you ask a question, you answer it. You don't go, along the way, and then in the middle you put the substance,
like
and then
a sandwich.
again, no, it's like, you do you need this? Yes, no, move on. Let's do this. So,
language is something very interesting.
It is.
I think we could talk for hours about it.
Maybe you figure out something with the Legos. I don't know.
Yeah. We will think about it.
We'll think about it. So one of the other things you mentioned was the Legos, Sabine. How did you discover Legos? I know from the
how
to the kids.
Lego, it's a childhood memory. No, but you mean the Lego series?
Yes, with the Lego
method,
series play.
yeah.
So how did you, because there are many methods and tools that, you know, coaches
Yeah,
do, but
that's
Lego
true.
is very
It's a very short story. I always already was a business coach in the beginning, and I mean, you know me. Yeah, I'm a kind of person, a head person, but also very much like intuitive, feeling, emotions person. Yeah, and actually, it was what was it? It was a network event, and now colleague of mine at that point of time, I didn't know him. He was holding a keynote, and it was about high potential teams and leadership, and he also had a small part introducing the Lego. It was really a small part, and I still remember I was sitting there and I was like, oh my God, I need to do this. This it is. Yeah, and that's it. And that's how I discovered it. I met him, he explained me some things about it. And for sure, it's also because I already had my kids. And my son, he was at that point of time, he was Lego, all over Lego. And if you watch kids growing up, if you see them growing up and if you see how they play, how they interact, how they do with building and playing and storytelling and taking on roles, it made so much sense for me. It was like this, yeah, this really makes sense because with this playfulness, with this doing something manually, with this telling stories about what you're building, communication is in there. There's so much in it. Yeah, that's how I discovered Lego.
Lego found you.
Full
You
story.
both, yeah, full
Yeah.
story. You both found each other.
It was love at first sight.
I wanted to ask you, I remember during our last lunch, you said, I promised not to grow up. Something along this way, like the PP long, like grown-ups, we're now grown-ups.
Really?
And you said, like, I'm not going to grow up. I think I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
It's from probably from PP, the long stroke, might be.
Yeah.
But since you work mainly with adults, right? So you work
Yeah.
with, management, head of leadership teams. So how long does it take them to go back into this playfulness? So why does it?
Milliseconds. Okay. Yeah.
But then why do we need a specific? So what happened to us? So why don't we play along the day? So why do we?
Why don't we play along the day? I mean, you know how we are raised. Yeah. Okay, you're from a different culture, but I expect like the expectations towards a kid growing up and a teenager and then an adult are pretty much the same. We are socialized in a way that we should be serious. Playfulness is something that it is not serious. It's like you need to think. We are used in school to sit, to listen, to work. I mean, it's now getting better, but at our ages, it was very much brain driven. Yeah, you're thinking here, up here, and everything down there is like it's for private purposes, it's for fun, but it's not for work or business or serious matter. Yeah, and with the time, the inner child gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and is not heard. And yeah, that's the way how it's functioning. And we are trained like that. And as you know, to do something differently, it takes time. It takes a lot of time. It needs to do something different, more playful, with more easiness, with less. It's still serious, but it's maybe this. I don't know whether it's the right word, serenity. To do it more with an easy approach is a bridge of the way you are doing at work. And so you would need to be very, very brave. You need to really step in for something. You're exposed, and this is us holding back. And with the Lego, you have something, you have a method, you have a tool in there, which is working very, really a lot of mechanism work. But you are allowed to be playful because it's the method of the workshop. Yeah, it's like you are allowed.
Yeah. And everybody around you is also allowed. So no one is looking at anyone like, okay, what is she doing?
And the methods, the whole way it's working, I mean, there's also science behind it. Yeah, it's set up in a way that it's really a safe space for everyone. Really, everyone is participating. It's not about judging or evaluating results or statements. It's about communication, and so it's much easier, and it's so much easier for someone to build something, to articulate what you are thinking, what you're feeling, and to present it with a model than to write it on a post-it or a flip chart.
Yeah, everybody will remember. So I did few Lego serious plays, especially with my first mentor, Claudia.
Yeah, I remember you told me about it. Yeah.
And I remember them. I remember them. It's been now years, more than 3 or 4 years.
You still remember?
I have exact picture of
you have
that
it in
model. Yes, exactly.
That's also one thing Lego is using, this mental picture. Yeah, you have a picture, you have something that is tangible, that you can grab, that you can see, that you can circle, that is a story, and you remember it. And I mean, you know, pictures we remember much easier than words.
True. And I did many coachings and mentoring sessions with mentors who were coaches themselves, and there were different methods. Some of them I forgot, most of them, because there was a lot of writing, right? You get questions and there's like write it down, or like the post-its, or in group sessions, or right. So I forgot most of them. So I hold them somewhere. Yeah, I'm looking at my bookshelves. They're there, but I would have to go back there, sit and find it, and then go through it again.
First, you need to remember that you have it.
Yeah. One thing, I've seen, Sabine, that you are doing some really cool things now with Tina Landru.
Yeah.
So tell us about it. So I thought I was recommending to a colleague of mine, but then I went again into it because she's looking for a job, and she was like, I would like to do I've done this in my life, but I would like to do something else, or maybe piece of it. She's on the point, on the verging point. And then I was like, you have to go there. But however, I've seen it's mostly this time is for the recruiters themselves.
It's for the recruiters. For recruiters, for hiring managers, for HR.
Okay.
It's something that evolved. Tina and me, Tina is coming from recruitment, so she's the recruitment lady. I have this marketing background. Something where you in the beginning actually would think, okay, completely different areas. So the touch points between those areas, maybe if a recruiter is hiring a marketing person, then you see each other and talk to each other, but that's it. But together we come along very well. We have somehow the same understanding of life. Also, it's about being a mother. We have the same understanding. And we've been talking about our past jobs, our careers, the changes in life, what was our frustration points in our jobs. And somehow it appeared that regardless on which side you're sitting, regardless whether you are the recruiter or the HR person or the hiring manager, or whether you are in company and you're the candidate, or if you're the leader or the employee, the pain points are pretty much the same. And they have a different color, a different shade, are called differently, but the pain point is pretty much the same. Like the hiring manager taking the second best choice and the candidate taking the second best choice in the job, for example. Yeah, because the other person or the other part is taking too much time for answering. It's not fitting. It's both sides have this feeling, okay, it's let's see how it works, whether it works. Both sides have expectations they maybe didn't talk about really in depth before. Then you have the probation period. Both sides are surprised what is there on the other side. So actually we discovered the pain point actually is the same. And it would make so much sense to bring this together and to set up a recruitment process, it's not a process, it's more an attitude that looks at everything 360 degrees already from the beginning. Yeah, and it's also a little bit about the change of mindset, what recruiting is about, that it's not about just finding a person for a specific job and a job description or a role, but, and here it's more my marketing soul talking now, bringing a little bit more marketing thinking into recruitment, because the person, the candidate, this person is not split, is not divided into, okay, now I'm thinking only with my candidate soul, and the next day I'm thinking only with my consumer soul. But when I think about my own professional time, I didn't apply for the company. I applied, to be honest, I applied for the brands. Yeah, and for what I have the feeling this company and this team and the work is, because I have a certain image of the brand and the product. So it goes along. And we, both Tina and me, we saw so many examples where you have the employer branding and then you have the corporate brand and the product brand. And if you look at those both, it's like, okay,
haven't met each other.
Worlds. Yeah.
They haven't talked to each other.
Yeah, completely different worlds. And it's not only that it's harmful, but you're losing so much potential.
Absolutely.
And I also, as a recruiter, I believe you always should need to be aware that the person you're talking about, the candidate, and then you're sending or even neglecting, the next day this person is a consumer again, and this person is maybe an influencer again, and someone spreading word of mouth.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
My biggest brand loyalties, 2 examples I got from recruitment processes where I didn't get the job. But those 2 processes have been so great and so on eye level and appreciating, and also the feedback that they are not taking me was so great, you know, so human-wise so great. I still, every time I go into Billa or Spar and I see these brands, think, okay, I need to buy it. I'm fully aware what's happening inside of me, but still.
That's why when we had lunch, you had some good tips. You're true insider about those ones. Thank you, Sabine. I'll link definitely the posts from you about this. If anyone in this round is listening and needs to would like to attend, of course. We have very, very little time, but if you decide, I was just thinking, if you decide to do a similar session for people who are looking for a job, but they are somewhere in the middle and they don't know left or right, or they are rethinking, if you decide to do similar session with Tina.
We're not thinking about this yet. In this context, it's really more, now it can be that it's then extended to candidates, but actually I'm doing this with single persons, also sometimes with Lego series play to figure out, okay, how am I approaching a company? What is it really what I want? What is my core? Not my CV, but really the core, and then to find some match, or to be more secure in when it comes to the job interview and to the talks, what am I really asking? What am I really listening to? What is it I want to know to be sure that it's fitting?
Okay, cool. Sabine, thank you so much for your time. One other thing that came to my mind while we were talking about things is that you are you're honoring collaboration in a true sense. If I look at your workshops, different workshop series that you did over the last years, it has to do a lot with collaboration. You did a few things with DLEC, I remember. Now you're doing opening with Dina. So I'm really curious to see what comes up next.
Yeah, me too.
which box do you open next? But it's like really, really great to see, you know, it fits perfectly. So all these things that you're doing, if you look back, you see it.
Because sometimes I myself have the feeling, okay, I'm jumping around, but this feedback is very valuable. Yeah, thank you, Adela.
Thank you, Sabine, and thank you everyone for listening to our interview. I hope you know more about, you know, the coaching with Legos. At this point of time, I for sure do. And I'm looking forward, you know, to hearing from all of you. I will link Sabine's contact details and you can easily get in touch with her and maybe learn a few words or from Viennese.
Learn what the Eitrige mit dem Buckel is.
On that note, we're closing this, Sabine. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful
Thank you, Adela.
Everyone. Thank you so much.
Have a great weekend.
You too. You, everyone. Take care. Yeah. Bye-bye. Ciao.